Good evening, everybody. Rye Guy here. It's actually about 9 o'clock right now, but it's still light out. Gotta love that. No, I didn't buy a new Can-Am. This is a friend of mine. I'm just trying to get rolling. I got a new clutch kit I just put in it, and we're doing some stuff to get it ready to ride for him. So anyway, that's not why I made this video. This bike here came in with a small light bar, a 12-inch light bar, I think, 12-inch light bar. LED, so wasn't working really well, and I was thinking, yeah, maybe I'll put it on the tractor or something like that. And I thought, well, it's got a bunch of LEDs burnt out, and if you've never seen inside of one of these light bars, essentially this is all that the light bar is they work in 6-inch sections. A lot of times the boards are pre-made to be 6-inch. And then they just slide them in series inside of the aluminum casing, the light bar here. So the majority of the weight, the majority of the weight in the light bar is this heat sink unit. So you can see it's nicely heat sinked here. Unless that's really plugged up with mud in the back, you're supposed to get good heat transfer off the board. Now here, in my mind, why... After I took this apart, I figured that a bunch of these LEDs were burnt out. Now, LEDs, light-emitting diodes. An LED light really doesn't just, they can last 25,000 plus hours, but they really don't burn out like an incandescent bulb without a certain reason. That's usually if it's over voltage, because LEDs can run on a certain range of voltage before they actually start emitting light. And that's usually anywhere between 6 to 12 volts. They can handle up to 14, but you're really pushing it. And that's why they have these. I'm not real good with electrical components, but I can kind of gauge what everything is here. You know, that's why they have these little transformers and capacitors and things like that. And it looks like to be a little tiny diode right there. Yeah, focus. Yeah, D5. Yeah, it's a diode. Anyway, what kills LED bulbs is heat. So, I'm looking at, when I took this apart, I'm looking at how this was assembled. Okay, here's the back. And what you'll notice is this little gray kind of strip along here and up here, if you can see it. Well, that is thermal paste. And if you're not familiar with computers or electronic components whatsoever, when you get two mating surfaces and like metal surfaces that need to transfer heat, well, if they're dry, you don't really get a real good heat transfer. So you need something called thermal paste in between the two pieces. And you'll find this a lot with like in motherboards, or if you're assembling something like a CPU unit into a motherboard, you need to have something called thermal paste. So, when I flip this over, so gently and gingerly, okay, there. When I flip this over, and try to focus the camera, because I'm using just my phone, well, if I look at the majority of the LEDs that were burnt out, and where they're located on the board, guess where they're at? Places where there's no thermal paste. So that indicates to me, even though I don't see any evidence here of overheating, because sometimes if a component blows, you'll see a little brown spot here and there. And this is not like a typical circuit board. Circuit board. Let's try that again. So I like using a GoPro and not a phone. Anyway, that's why all the circuitry is actually underneath this white coating. I don't know if you'd be able to see anything here. Probably not. You can see kind of remnants of it just here and there. But anyway, yeah. I completely lost track of what I was talking about. But anyway, yeah. That's my diagnostic of why these LEDs decided to give up the ghost. Is very, very little thermal paste application between the backside of this circuit board to the backside of this actual heatsink. So I'm guessing over time that each time this was run at night, the LEDs that are burned out are places where there's no thermal paste. These LEDs up here, this one, and these two, and this one right here is fine. The rest of them are all gone. Well, it's not really a tutorial video or how-to video. It's more just of tear down and just kind of look inside of what is inside of one of these light bars and potential problems you can run in. Now, this is made by there's a brand somewhere here. Striker? I think it's called Striker. Something like that. I seen it on the side of the bar. Oh, here it is. Look. Slasher. Not even close. Slasher products. Well, I can tell you that this light bar is probably about a year and a half old. If not 2 years old. 2 years old. Let's say 2 years old. LEDs should last 25,000 hours. If you got 25,000 hours on a Can-Am, or even on a Grizzly, man, you're doing some good. But, anyway, that's just my 2 cents. And by the way, the difference between, you know, like a rigid light bar or something from Hella or PIAA something. Anyway, you've seen them, you've heard of them. The difference between that and these guys, I mean, pretty cheap components, but this is probably bought on eBay or Amazon or something like that. The LEDs lights do work pretty good. These ones, they work pretty good. I mean, I've had these on for a couple of years now, probably 3-4 years. There's only 3 LEDs in each one of these things, and all 6 of them are working, so. But anyway, I'm just rambling on now. It's Sunday. I got to get to work tomorrow, bright and early tomorrow morning, so. Yeah, I'm just closing up shop here for the day. So anyway, we'll see you guys out in the next run. Don't know exactly when that's going to be, because I got a bunch of stuff around here I got to get completed. This and farm stuff and work, and I work next weekend, and I'm on shift, so yeah. Anywho, we'll see you guys in the next run. Thanks. Raga out.